Found out my deceased brother has a kid we didn't know about. My brother and I were 18 months apart. He struggled with addiction and tragically passed away from an overdose 5 years ago. Last month was the 5-year anniversary of his passing, and man was it tough. What made this even more devastating is that he left behind a 2-year-old daughter and a fiancée who was pregnant with his son. He never got to meet his son, who is now 4. His daughter is now 7. Life kept going on without him. While we miss him every day, my mom, sister and I did whatever we could to help support his kids and fiancée and make sure they were comfortable and felt supported as they tried to move on and build what became their new life. The fiancée moved on, met a new guy, and moved away. We have a great relationship with them and are happy they have a stable home. This week, my mom received a Facebook message from a woman my brother had a fling with prior to the fiancée. She has 3 girls and 1 son. Turns out her and her partner are breaking up. The partner took a paternity test, and discovered the son was not his. She said the only other possibility could be my brother. The kid looks shockingly like us. Exactly what my brother and I looked like when we were little. She's not asking for money or for anything, just for us to be aware that we have a family member we didn't know about, and that when the kid is old enough, she wants him to know his other side of the family. We're happy, shocked, excited, scared, and so many emotions that it's hard to describe. We're happy that there's another piece of my brother living on, but we're scared about the unknowns of this woman we have no relationship with, worried for the daughter and son we did know about to find out they have a half-brother, and worried that this new kid now has to learn his dad isn't his real dad and his real dad is dead. My girlfriend admits that I'm not the most attractive guy she has been with. My current girlfriend, 21F, and me, 22M, have been dating for the past year, and for 2 months now she has been my girlfriend. Some context. She has had a very intense sex life before me, apparently, and have slept with 39 different guys, had 1 foursome, many years ago, and 20 of those 39 was in a span of a year. 10 guys in about 4 months, which 8 of those were new bodies, and I was one of those 10. These 4 months were 4 months before we started dating with feelings and was only seeing each other for sex, aka fuck buddies. She says that the sex we have is the best sex she has ever had, but I can't make sense of it. It feels like she's lying, mainly because she felt the need of at least 7 other men while we were just seeing each other as fuck buddies. Anyways, very many, majority, of her past sexual partners has ripped/big/fit bodies compared to me. I got frustrated and asked her how she could find me hot/sexy when she has been with such fit guys for pure pleasure and looks. Her answer was that she wasn't turned on by the size of the muscles or how ripped they were, it was the fact that they had visible muscles that turned her on. I am somewhat fit as well, but not anywhere near her previous sexual partners. And she says that I'm the most attractive guy in the world to her, right now, because of her strong feelings for me. But admits if it weren't for the feelings, another one, or several, of her past partners would be more sexy than me in her eyes. I'm now unsure how to feel about all this, and it's very much to unpack for me. There is more to the story that makes me feel unsure about all this, but this is the key points. Why do I keep running into minors on Grindr? Seriously, I'll message someone who is claiming they are 20 and a twink or femboy, and I'll start chatting. Only for them to send me BTW I'm actually 15/16. To make things worse, sometimes these boys message first and open with dick or ass pic, which is actual CP. I, of course, tell them to get the hell off the app, then block/report, not that it does much. It's distressing how often it can happen. I'm pretty sure it has happened twice this month so far. My gynecologist didn't do her job, and I just found out I'm extremely screwed. 24F. I went to a gynecologist in May who essentially belittled me, told me I needed to seek therapy for my physical pain, refused to complete the tests she ordered, and told me they wouldn't be helpful or useful when I asked why not. Mind you, I paid for the entire set of fucking tests including the ones that weren't done. Like she point blank said we don't need to test your progesterone on a hormone panel because it would provide no helpful information. Also heavily implied one exam hadn't been done because I don't regularly have penetrative sex, lesbian, which was entirely irrelevant to why those tests were being performed. A few days ago I saw a new gynecologist, which I did not want to do, but my pain has gotten so bad that it started to affect my ability to make a living. Within the hour, I got blood tests and an ultrasound. I walked out of there diagnosed with critically low progesterone, a massive cyst, PCOS, and severe endometrial hyperplasia, with a good chance that I could develop cancer, enter menopause, and/or be completely infertile in a few years. Had the original gynecologist done her fucking job, I likely wouldn't be in such a medical crisis state. I am 24 years old. I'm gay, so having kids would more than likely be a process and a choice, thus not something I've thought much about. But knowing that not only that but my fucking life expectancy is at stake is making my head spin. I can't shake the look of horror on my new gynecologist's face when she was doing the ultrasound, and am so absolutely completely fucking livid at my old gynecologist for telling me to go to therapy when in reality I could already have cancer, getting tested soon or be perimenopausal. I don't know if those 5 months made a difference in how bad things are, but it's likely the endometrial hyperplasia got worse and the big ass cyst got larger, which, again, had the gynecologist done what she said she was going to do, like not even just her job. She ordered these tests. Things might be less dire, and I could have spent 5 fewer months in debilitating pain. I also have dysautonomia, so know how fucking terrible doctors can be about listening and understanding symptoms, but I have never felt this kind of ire towards a medical professional in my life. I knew what was wrong to an extent, thought maybe one cyst and some progesterone issues, but not to the extent that it actually is, precancerous disease that rarely occurs in premenopausal people on top of everything else. I asked for the tests that were ordered to be done and why they weren't completed and was met with "you don't know anything, go to therapy." Like, girl, you ordered them? I hope she loses her fucking license and has a terrible rest of her day. I'll never get that time back, and maybe have less than I hoped, because she didn't see me as worth her time and energy. My wife told my AP I'd rather be 80-year-old me than 20-year-old you, and it haunts me every day. My wife and I were HS sweethearts. We are both 40 and have been together for 25 years. We have 2 children together, 5 and 6. For the past 5 years, I have thought that we are together because we basically grew up together. I met my now GF, 28, I know I'm 12 years older. But I met her at work. She is beautiful and attractive, and I thought she was this new change I wanted. Instead of breaking it off with my ex and do the right thing, I cheated and I got caught. My wife was so gracious about it. She didn't want us to be together anymore. This was a year ago and I left our house and rented an apartment. We have yet to start divorce, although I don't want to. Neither of us was talking about it. My GF, however, is not so happy about this, and mainly because I left our big house that's originally my house to my wife and daughters. I inherited from my grandparents and it is worth a fortune right now. My GF means that it is my family home, and for me, yes, it is. My family is living there. But my GF meant that when we get divorced, my wife has no claim to the house. 3 weeks ago my GF and I were dropping our daughters with their mother, and my GF went against my wishes and started talking to my wife about the house. My wife was confused and said that the house is hers and her daughters, and she looked at me all confused, but my GF told her that it was mine. And it was time to move on. My wife then said that my GF should put her nose in other people's business. GF became angry and said that my wife is a hag who is bitter because she's old. My wife smiled and said, "Is your age your only redeeming quality? Because that won't last." Then she said that she'd rather be 80 yo herself than 20 yo my GF. She wasn't angry or bitter. She isn't old either. She is 40, like me. Am I so old according to my GF? She's very beautiful too. I don't know what my GF was thinking. I felt so ashamed and angry with myself. My GF was immature and embarrassing. I have been unhappy for months now, but if I broke it off it means that I have hurt my family for nothing. My wife called me next day and said that maybe we should start talking about divorce. I broke down crying the moment we ended the call. Now every time I see her I want to be in her arms and cry. Just thinking about 80 yo her with 80 yo me beside her. The way we envisioned ourselves every time we saw an elderly couple holding hands or kissing, and we thought this will be us too. I realized I'd rather have 80 yo her than 20 yo anyone. But I have messed that up.